Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready for another amazing evening of racing action. Qualifying has just come to a close here. The field is set. Drivers are ready to rock and roll here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Not the new repaved, we're in the 08, the 2008 version of Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old racetrack where it's a little bit rougher, it's a little bit tougher, maybe a little less bump drafting like we see in the new Atlanta style of a racetrack where it's more of a super speedway now than a mile-and-a-half racetrack. We're going back to when it was a little bit more old school. The track had a lot more, realistic things to it, a lot more kind of, unique aspects to it that made this track, so fun to watch. And these drivers, they're going to probably have their hands full. They're going to have a lot more bumps and, little grooves that they're going to have to deal with, some dirty areas on the racetrack that could put them into tough situations. And we could see some big hits, some crazy accidents here at the racetrack, but we're going to see a ton, and I mean a ton, of great racing here all evening long. As we'll get this field stacked up, racked up, and ready to go. You see the banner on the top side there. Every one of these drivers qualifying into the show here this evening, and they are ready to put on a show here for us. As starting on the pole in the number 51 machine in the Celsius ride, that is David Duran Jr. To his outside in the JRC race cars, that is the Schenko Custom Diecast ride, the 19 of CJ Jeffries. Starting in position number 3 in the Hooters number 9, that is Brandon Puffenbarger, and to his outside in the Pool Boy Schenko number 12, that is Josh Bromfield. Starting in position number 5 on the racetrack, the Mobile 1 number 15, that is Cameron Combs, into his outside will be the Fastenal number 99. It's the beautiful chrome and white ride. That is the beautiful machine there of Chris Muse. Starting on the inside, a row number 4 on the racetrack, it is the Syndicate Motorsports PeaceMaker Gaming number 77 ride. That is Casey Gross. They're in position number 7 for the 77. To his outside in the Elite Sim Racing CZX Digital RSF number 3 machine, that is Al Reed. Starting on the inside, a row number 5, another procrastinators ride, the Outcast Racing League PeaceMaker Gaming number 84 ride of Wayne Garland. His outside in the number 8, I do believe, is Lance Brantlinger in the Good Wrench number 8 machine. He will round out our top 10 here on the evening. Then we see Pool Boy himself there in the PeaceMaker Gaming Outcast Racing League number 37 ride. That is James Garland. He will have Johnny Thunders in the Elite Sim Racing Schenko Custom Diecast 60 ride to his outside. The Land NC NSB02 of Chad Lancaster going to start there at 13th. He will have the number 70 ride of Mike Killingbeck to his outside. Anthony Garland, Kurt Sponsler, Gary Wright, Dylan Espinoza bringing up the rear of the field here as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as quickly David Duran Jr. onto the loud pedal here. The Circle K Celsius machine rolling the inside lane here. He is going to clear CJ Jeffries down and out of quarter number 2. So David Duran Jr. started out in front and quickly trying to lead us down the back straightaway into quarter number 3 as drivers up to speed now. Drivers through the gears. They are hitting max speed down these straightaways, and everyone is ready to put on a show. A little bit of a crossover move right there is all over the back bumper. Is that 19 right of CJ Jeffries putting the pressure on our lap 1 leader, the 51 of David Duran Jr. So Duran leads lap number 1, but can he hang on to lead lap number 2? The 19 of CJ Jeffries is right there putting the pressure on that number 51 ride. Brandon Puffenbarger right there in tow, and Cameron Combs trying to work himself up into the picture as well. A beautiful looking ride there for that 15 machine. As down across the line, David Duran Jr. does lead lap number 2 on the racetrack, as each and every one of these drivers doing a great job out there. As unfortunately, looks like we had some issues here off the start. Looks like Dylan Espinoza running into some issues here in the 56 ride, the Thrustmaster machine. Unfortunately, looks like he's going to just lose the handle of this car down the bottom side coming out of corner number 2. The car's just going to crack loose on him, and he unfortunately slides down hard into the inside fence there. Heavy damage for that 56 ride. Being the last car out there on the track, he's still spinning here, still trying to get the handle of that thing. Unfortunately, all that damage, he's going to take it right down pit side. So a tough break there for the number 56 ride. As out in front, the 51 trying to hold on to the lead here. David Duran Jr., CJ Jeffrey still door-to-door out on the racetrack, and the outside lane proving a little bit better down these straightaways, carrying that extra bit of momentum, that extra little bit of speed. As you can see, these drivers starting to get a little higher and higher into these corners, and that's where some of the dirty racetrack may be, up against the outside wall. So you got to be very, very careful, but you can carry a ton of speed and a ton of momentum around this racetrack using that outside groove. As quickly down to the inside here, trying to put a little air, some dirty air onto the front nose of the 19 ride of CJ Jeffries. Jeffries did not get through the corner. Very good as Brandon Puffenbarger up into the outside fence. Heavy damage here for the Hooters number 9 ride. Heavy damage, heavy contact. Unfortunately there for him, that is going to set him all the way back. He was running in the 4th spot here. Take a look at it, just out at corner number 4. The car just washes up the track and just keeps on going. He tries to save it. Unfortunately, still gets into that wall, and pretty good contact. Good heads-up driving here by everyone else in the field here to stay underneath of him. A good job by the 9 ride to keep himself just pinned to that wall. Unfortunately, creating more carnage and more damage for him, but keeping everyone else from driving into him and creating more contact and more carnage out there on the racetrack. So good heads-up driving there by him. We also saw Brendan Stott join the field here as well in the Wawa number 45 ride. That Sun Drop machine joins the field here. Unfortunately, had to start down on pit lane. That's put him definitely behind the 8 ball here on the evening. But the Wawa 45 out there on the racetrack. So good to see Brendan Stott join the field here, looking to try to work himself up through the field. Unfortunately for Dylan Espinoza, he is still off the racetrack. So a tough break for that 56 ride. But out in front, the 51 ride continues to lead the way. The driver moving up through the field here. We do see some drivers slowly but surely working themselves to the front here. As that 15 rider, Cameron Combs, now up into second. He's trying to chase down our race leader. Casey Gross having himself a great day at the racetrack, as well as the PeaceMaker Gaming Syndicate Motorsports ride. Up 3 spots as well on the racetrack. He's there in 4th, and James Garland working himself up through the field here as well. A great day early on here for that 37 ride, as he's battling with the 3 machine of Al Reed for a top 5 on the racetrack. Reed up on the high side, James Garland down on the bottom side here. The battle for position number 5 rages on, as both Al Reed up 3 positions and James Garland up 5 spots from where he started this evening, trying to make it 6 right here as he gets a little tight there to the 3 ride. He pushed up the racetrack there, and that almost became a bigger issue there, as unfortunately now he's rolled out of that throttle. Here comes Anthony Garland, who's slowly but surely, he's been working himself up through the field with that pass right there on that 37 ride, up 10 positions. Started back in 16th, now finds himself in 6th here for the number 81 ride, as the JD RF machine continues to work himself to the front of the field. You see James Garland going to try to battle back down low here, try to get back down to the inside of that 81 ride. A great group of cars right here. You can out pretty heavily. You see Lance Brantlinger right there in the picture. Johnny Thunder's in there as well, and Mike Killingback rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Wayne Garland there in 11th, with Chad Lancaster back in 12th. Chris Muse is slid all the way back here. The 99 ride unfortunately down 7 spots. There in position number 13, Gary Wright in the Tito's number 16 ride. Very beautiful looking paint scheme here for that 16 machine. He is up into the 14th spot. Kurt Sponsler there in 15th. And then you see the Pool Boy number 12 ride. This is Josh Bromfield. Bromfield started up closer to the front of the field here. He's unfortunately down 12 spots on the racetrack now, and trying to battle back up through, maybe try to use a little bit of tire strategy, maybe try to take it easy on these opening laps and keep himself out of trouble. It's been a little while since we saw Josh Bromfield out on the racetrack, so it's always good to see him out there on the field and show these drivers how to get it done. Good to see Bromfield back out there and running with the boys here this Sunday. Brandon Puffenbarger, who we saw get up into the outside fence there, was running in the 4th position, now finds himself back in 17th here, so a tough break there for that number 9 ride. And then we saw Brendan Stott running into issues here as well, that Wawa number 45 ride. Heavy damage here for him. Let's see if we can take a look and what happened. That right front just not even moving. Looks like just gets loose here out of corner number 2, gets up into the outside fence, and then car just shoots down the racetrack hard into the inside wall there as well. Heavy damage there for that number 45 ride. Let's take another look back at it and see what we can see here. Is just running. He was running pretty smoothly, just fortunately there gets up into a little bit of dirty track, loses the rear end hard into the inside wall, outside wall, and see that damage on that wall 45 right as he's going to limp it back down pit lane. And the crew's going to go to work trying to get that thing put back together and back out there onto the racetrack, as Atlanta Motor Speedway, unfortunately, it can do a lot of damage in a quick hurry. Anne-Marie Davis coming in with the heart reaction. Anne-Marie coming in showing the big love. Kurt Sponkler coming in with that heart reaction as well. And James Garland coming in with the heart reaction here on the broadcast. Huge shout out there to Anne-Marie and Kurt and James all coming in showing the love with the reactions. Here's CJ Jeffries coming in with that share on the broadcast as well, as CJ currently rolling in that 3rd spot, trying to work himself back around that 15 ride of Cameron Combs as they battle almost door to door here out at corner number 4. A good run right there for that 19 ride as he's going to take that 2nd spot down across the line here. It looks like he's going to make the move down into corner number 1, launches it in there perfectly. In the 19, CJ Jeffries back into 2nd. It's out in front here by 1 1/4 seconds. It is, oh, look out, David Durant Jr., our race leader. Getting tied up here as our first caution flag is going to fly, and our race leader, unfortunately, finds a lap down car sideways in the middle of corner number 3. Heavy damage here for that Celsius number 51 ride, in a heartbreaker for our race leader is David Duran Jr. Nowhere to go down the back straightaway as Dylan Espinoza out. Unfortunately, he's back out on the racetrack here, and looks like almost the exact same thing as we saw earlier here for this number 56 ride, just out at corner number 2. Loses that rear end. It just launches the car down the racetrack hard into the inside wall. You see it get up off all 4 tires, slides back up the racetrack, and then oh, man, David Durant Jr., I'm sure he thought that the 56 was going to keep rolling and maybe roll down the racetrack. See this car coming right at him here. That is our race leader, and fortunately the 56 keeps the foot on the throttle and just rolls up the racetrack enough there where he doesn't roll down, and just nowhere to go for our race leader. Heavy contact, good heads-up driving there by CJ Jeffries and Cameron Combs and pretty much the rest of the field to make sure they get out of the way. There's Casey Gross going around the outside. Al Reed down on the inside as, oh, brother, that is a heartbreaker right there for our race leader at the time of this caution flag. Let's see if we can play this one back and take another look at it from David Duran Jr.'s perspective here as he was rolling up on this car out in front. He's trying to run away, sees the car having issues here in front of him, and just was trying to hope to just kind of blow through it and not have any issues. Unfortunately, still under power, and then see that gap that he was looking at close up in a heartbeat, and just nowhere for him to go there at the late part of that. Is you got to imagine he's thinking that this 56 is going to roll down the racetrack here. Unfortunately, see him come right back up there and towards the outside fence, and it took the lane that he was shooting for away, and unfortunately that caused a ton of damage there for that 51 machine. And him and the crew are going to have to go to work here hard and trying to get that car back out onto the racetrack. He may even have to use his quick repair early in this race. Going from the top spot to the bottom spot here for that number 51 of Duran Jr. and a heartbreaker for him as Tough contact right there. Tough contact, tough place to be, but man, what a show these guys have been putting on for us already in this race, man. They've been putting on some great racing action. We're only about 20 laps into this race, so we got a lot of racing left, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of racing, a lot of great battles, and hopefully no caution flags like that, but we may see a few more caution flags here on the evening, but we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a few more moments. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, please do me the favor, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the follow and or subscribe button if you're watching over on the YouTube channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it can help us out grow a ton here. Every single like, comment, share, and new follower on every broadcast that we have can help us, reach newer, higher levels, bring more and more viewers in to watch these amazing drivers and what they can do on a weekly basis. And we can also showcase our amazing sponsors not only here on the channel, but out there on the racetrack for each and every one of these drivers. So make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that follow or subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family today. Drop a couple comments, let us know who you're cheering for, who you want to see up in victory lane, as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here next time by the start finish line, as CJ Jeffries will consume this race lead here after the contact with the 51 and the 56 down the back straightaway. So CJ Jeffries out in front. He has Cameron Combs there to his outside. Casey Gross up in the third with Anthony Garland there in position number 4. Lance Brandlinger there in fifth as Chad Lancaster in the Land and CNSB Syndicate Motorsports ride there in position number 6. The 02 ride looking fresh out there on the racetrack. James Garland, Mike Killingbeck, Gary Wright up inside the top 10, and Chris Muse back into the top 10 as well in the 99 ride. Kurt Sponsler, Josh Bromfield, Johnny Thunders, Al Reed, Wayne Garland, David Duran Jr., Brendan Puffinbarger, Brendan Stott, and Dylan Espinoza ready to go back to green flag racing here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. As drivers stacked up, racked up, and ready to go, we'll get ready to set them back loose here for another wild evening of racing action. Ross Harold coming in with the like on the stream. How are you, Russ? Russ coming in, some mashing that thumbs up here on the broadcast as we are back to green flag racing. CJ Jeffries quickly back onto the loud pedal of the 19 ride. Out in front here gets a great launch and looking to open up a bit of a lead between himself and Cameron Combs. As Combs trying to tail him there in second, you see the number 81 of Anthony Garland getting a good restart there, as well as the 02 of Chad Lancaster as they both jump up a couple spots here. It's 81 now up into third. Chad Lancaster there in fourth, as here comes Lance Brantlinger and Casey Gross trying to get both their rides rolling here. Unfortunately, not the restart that they were really hoping for, especially for that 77 ride. Casey Gross has dropped 3 spots here from the restart. To this point, only a lap and a half, and he's already down 3 positions. He's trying to hang on right now, as here comes Mike Killingbeck trying to work to his outside. Killingbeck right there in 7th with James Garland back in 8th. And you see Chris Muse and Josh Bromfield battling for position number 9. On the racetrack, it's Killingbeck hard up into the outside fence. Hang on to it, Mike Killingbeck. That puts Johnny Thunders into the wall. Wayne Garland up into the fence there as well. Heavy damage here for the Lawrence Tech number 70 ride. Let's see if we can play this one back and take a look here, as I think just coming out of corner number 4. Unfortunately, it's going to bite this 70 ride as he's going to get up the track. And, oh, the 56 ride having issues there again. Oh, brother. We somewhat may get that 56 ride off the racetrack. Oh, my. Oh, my. This thing already heavily damaged here. Can barely turn on the racetrack. You can see him trying to turn left down the track. It will not turn, unfortunately, up into the outside fence. And everyone trying to get around him here. Then Mike Killingbeck comes in there. He tries to avoid him. It just unbalances this car. And unfortunately, as it does that, he kind of just gets that rear end loose, washes up the track hard into the outside fence here in the tri-oval. ton of damage there for Killingbeck, and then everyone else going to be trying to scatter and stay out of the way of the 60 ride, trying not to get a piece of them here. And I do believe that's going to put the 60 ride right there. You see the 60 machine of Johnny Thunders. He's going to get up into the outside fence there as well. Not as hard, but still a little bit of damage for that 60 machine and for the 84 of Wayne Garland, as they're both trying to just jump up and get out of the way there of that 70 ride. A tough break out there on the racetrack for all those drivers, as we will get them stacked up, racked up, and ready to go back to green flag racing here, as Killingbeck still looking to come down pit side, and I'm sure Johnny Thunders and a few other drivers may also be headed down pit lane here, as the yellow flag has been redisplayed here. So the yellow flag is out and about, and I do believe that's going to bring an end to our first stage of the day here. So yeah, first stage I do believe coming to an end. CJ Jeffries going to pick up the stage win here in stage number 1. We'll see if we can pull CJ up into the broadcast booth for his little in-race interview here. See if we can get that number 19 up here into the booth and see what he's got to say so far about this race. Looks like drivers are heading down pit side, so maybe we'll give him time to get into his pit stall. We don't want him to be, not fully paying attention, so we're going to try not to distract him here. We'll let him get into his pit stall and get his pit stop kind of underway, and we'll wait and see if he can stay as our race leader here as we come back, as Wayne Garland ends up staying out on the racetrack. So a strategy move there, as we do see the 15 ride of Cameron Combs. He overshot his pit stall there, and fortunately for Cameron Combs, he's going to have to lose a lot of spots there on pit lane. We do see CJ Jeffries rolling back out onto the racetrack. Brandon Puffenbarger staying out there as well, but CJ Jeffries, the first driver off of pit lane and back out onto the racetrack. Anthony Garland, Al Reed, AC Gross right there behind him, as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll get ready here. We're going to pull our third place driver up into the booth here right now, but our stage 1 winner, 19, is CJ Jeffries. See if we can find CJ out here on the racetrack. So far, I don't see him in the Discord. There he is. Now I see him. Now I see him. See if we can get him in here. Hey CJ, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. To get a copy? CJ, man, a great run here in stage number 1 at Old Atlanta. You're able to keep the 19 right up inside the top 3 here all evening long. You battled there for a little bit with David Durant Jr. And then we saw the 15 of Cameron Combs was able to get around you, but late before that first caution flag, you were able to get back around him. Looked like you were picking up the pace and trying to hunt down that 51 right before we got tied up with some lap traffic, man. Take us back through that first stage, and that's if you're able to pick up that first stage win here on the evening.
Track position is going to be real important. So, but big thing is just wanting to save a set of tires for the end of the race.
Absolutely. Trying to save those tires, trying to have a car here at the end of the evening is going to be a blast to watch and see how all the strategy plays out. Good luck out there on the racetrack, CJ, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the broadcast booth a couple more times.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 19 ride of CJ Jeffries as we're going back to green flag racing, and down into the infield goes the 9 ride of Puffenbarger. Oh, brother, a big mistake right there for the 9 ride as he shoots down through the infield. That almost created a calamity here off the restart, and Brandon Puffenbarger's day is just continuing to get a little bit worse and a little bit worse here, and I'm sure he is not having a great time, but someone that is having a great time is the Garlands, is Wayne Garland out in front here. Unfortunately, he is going to lose that lead now to the 81 of Anthony Garland, is Anthony out in front leading the way here down across the line. So Anthony Garland, now our race leader, is Wayne Garland trying to hold on to second here. Here comes Al Reed and CJ Jeffries. They're going to split the 84 ride, but CJ gets up into the outside fence, scattering down the back straightaway. CJ Jeffries makes that mistake here, trying to get to the high side as the 8 ride very loose. Look out, problem here on the 8 ride. Lance Brantlayer, hang on to it, brother, as he almost goes around, almost spins that number 8 machine there through corner of 3 and 4. Somehow he was able to hang on to it and keep it pointed in the right direction. As Al Reed now going to make his move around the 81 ride, but he gets into the fence. A little contact there between our front 2 drivers. Here comes Wayne Garland. Wayne Garland's going to poke his nose right into this battle. Excuse me there, chat. Had a little bit of a cough. That's the 3 ride of Al Reed out in front. He was finally able to make that pass. Hopefully not too much damage there on that 3 machine as Wayne Garland there in second. David Durant Jr., though, has been able to work himself back up through the field here. Look at the 51 as the 3 ride shoots down the racetrack. Hang on to it. Drivers trying to save tires here for late in this race, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think they may need them. They may need some extra sets here this evening, as now that these drivers have about 30 laps of racing on these tires, they are all over the place. Things are looking a little bit more sporadic, and you really gotta make sure you keep these tires nice and clean and perfect here, especially for late in this race. And there goes the 81. Anthony Garland, same thing. They're out at quarter number 2. The car shoots down the racetrack almost into that inside fence. A good heads-up piece of driving. He was able to hang on to it and keep it rolling here, but you can see these drivers are definitely starting to struggle with the handling of their cars as these tires start to fade away. More and more drivers running into issues here as David Durant Jr. back out in front, but he's got Wayne Garland right there with him. Wayne has not left the back bumper of that 51 ride. A good piece of driving here for Wayne this evening as Al Reed back to third. He's got Chris Muse right there with him as Muse trying to make some work here, trying to work himself up inside the top 3. Came so close to a top 3 finish last weekend. He's been knocking on the door of a victory here all season long, so it'll be interesting to see who's going to end up in victory lane later on this evening. As Anthony Garland there in 5th, as CJ Jeffries right there behind him, our stage 1 winner, trying to hang on to the 19 ride as Mike Killingbeck going to go a roll around the outside of him there. There goes the 0-2 ride of Chad Lancaster as well. The 77 of Casey Gross now working to his inside as Lance Brantlanger and Josh Bromfield going to round out our top 10 on the racetrack right now. James Garland back there in 11th with Gary Wright, Cameron Combs, Kurt Sponsler, Johnny Thunders, Brandon Puffenbarger back in the 16th position. Mike Killingbeck in position number 17. I do believe Mike is the first car 1 lap down on the racetrack, so he's hoping for a caution flag to try to work himself back on the lead lap here. And then Brendan Stott off the track and Dylan Espinoza also off of the racing surface here this evening. As out in front, the 51 of David Durant Jr. leads the way here. Some great racing so far from that 51 ride. Unfortunately, has used up his quick repair early in this race after making hard contact with a spun around 56 ride right there through corner into corner number 3 and down that back straightaway. Heavy damage for David Durant Jr., but the crew has brought out the backup car and he's right back up to the front of the field here and not missing a beat out there on the racetrack as he looks to try to win stage number 2 and maybe park that 51 ride up into victory lane here this evening. It's definitely looked like possibly the best car out there on the racetrack all day long, but he's had a couple mistakes himself. We've seen him just right there get a little bit of the outside fence, and each and every one of these drivers throughout this evening will probably have those issues. So it's about minimizing issues on the racetrack, trying to make sure that you keep, all 4 tires pointed in the right direction and make sure that you keep all 4 fenders, in one piece here towards the end of the race, and being there at the end could open up possibilities of picking up a win this evening. As as Chad Lancaster working down to the inside here of Al Reed. This is a battle for the third position. Reed trying to keep it. The 0-2 of Lancaster trying to take it away as Chad Lancaster right there on the inside of that number 3 ride as Al Reed going to get up, gets a little piece of the outside fence right there is the 70 ride of Mike Killingbeck, our first car 1 lap down out on the racetrack. Chris Muse back in the 5th position. Lance Brantlinger back up into 6th. Here's Anthony Garland back into the 7th spot. And this is a hornet's nest right here. Is just outside of the top 5. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th on the racetrack are battling like bats out of hell here as each and every one of these drivers trying to work themselves up in towards the front of the field, maybe trying to get some stage points here for the end of stage number 2 on the evening. As right now, Anthony Garland in that 7th spot, Brumfield trying to get through his outside. CJ Jeffrey still trying to hang on here after his contact with the outside fence. That car has been sliding backwards here a little bit more and a little bit more, and now you see he's gonna get close to that outside fence again. He's gonna lose some momentum going down the back straightaway. Casey Gross right there with him, really nowhere to go as here comes Cameron Combs, Johnny Thunders, Gary Wright, all right there within striking distances. Johnny Thunders working himself up in the 9th position here underneath of CJ Jeffrey. Some great racing here on the evening as each and every one of these drivers putting on one heck of a show here for us this evening. David Duran Jr. out in front leading the way as Wayne Garland there in 2nd. And then we see Chad Lancaster there in 3rd. A little ways back, we see Al Reed in position number 3. Chris Muse there in position number 5. Sorry, Al Reed is in 3rd, and Chris Muse is there in 5th position. Lance Brantlinger in position number 6. Josh Bromfield now up into 7th. Johnny Thunders there in 8th as Anthony Garland and CJ Jeffries continue to slide back. We saw the 15 ride of Cameron Combs unfortunately have a slow pit stop during that last caution break. Everyone came down pit side. He overshot his pit stall. Had to throw that car in reverse and back it up, and crew was finally able to go to work, and unfortunately though he lost a ton of time and a ton of spots on the track here, and he's been trying to recover from that one and still yet to break inside the top 10, but he's right there now into the 11th position. Kurt Sponsler joining that battle as well as Gary Wright. He's sliding to the back of that pack as the NOS Energy number 49 rider Sponsler right there within that striking distance. James Garland back in position number 15 with Brandon Puffenbarger there in 16th. Mike Killingbeck still rolling right here behind our 3rd place driver Chad Lancaster, as he's still the first car 1 lap down, and he's hoping to keep it that way before our caution flag on the end of stage number 2. As the end of stage number 2 will come at lap number 50, so only a few short laps away, and Killingbeck's banking on that yellow flag and banking on that wave around to get himself back on the lead lap after his hard contact with the outside fence. But we're going to take a look back here at the start of stage number 2 as things were just getting back underway here. Brandon Puffenbarger was our race leader here. He was going back to the green flag, and I don't know if he got contact or if he may have lost the handling of this number 9 ride here off the restart. As let's take a look at it and see what happened here. As I think he might have just spun the tires, and as he did, yeah, it just looks like he spins the tires, shoots that car right down to the infield here. Oh, brother, that's a tough break right there. Doesn't look like he had any help, but might have got a shot right at the end of the restart zone here. It doesn't really look like it. Doesn't look like any damage to the 19 ride, but you do see the 9 just unfortunately spins those tires down through the grass, and fortunately, as he's going down through there, he's mowing the lawn here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and goes from hero to zero in a quick hurry as he has to go down through the grass and back up onto the racetrack there in a very slow, casual pace, trying to not damage that race car. As out in front, David Duran Jr. after that was able to jump his way back to the lead, and he has been absolutely blown away here as he's out to a 4-point second advantage now between himself and Wayne Garland, as Garland trying to hang on to position number 2. Chad Lancaster right there in third here, as Lancaster and Garland going to try to duke it out here for the second and third spot on the racetrack. Mike Killingback right there with them is a lap down and should be getting that wave around here at the stage break that's going to come up here very shortly. Lance Brantlinger back up into position number 4 as Al Reed slides back to 5th. Chris Muse there in 6th with Johnny Thunders, Josh Bromfield, Kurt Sponsler, and Gary Wright rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Casey Gross right there as well, as we do see that yellow flag fly. Stage number 2 is going to come to a close here. So stage number 2 coming to an end, and David Duran Jr., after looking dominant in stage 1, had that contact, had that issue, unfortunately could not get the stage 1 win and the clean sweep here of the stages, as he was running away with that first stage, and contact sent him back quite a ways, but he's able to rebound here and dominate stage number 2 in David Duran Jr. Stage win number 2 on the evening here for himself, as he's able to get that second stage win of the day, and we'll get ready to try to pull him up into the broadcast booth here as green flag pit stops will get underway here in a quick hurry, as the rest of the field trying to catch up. And see Chad Lancaster there, our second place driver here, the end of the stage. Wayne Garland, Lance Brantlinger, Al Reed, Chris Muse, Johnny Thunders, Josh Bromfield, Kurt Sponsler, and Gary Wright are top 10 there at the end of stage number 2. Let's see if we can pull this 51 ride up into the broadcast booth. Where will we find him? That is the big question. Scouring through the Discords. There we go. I think we see him there. There we go. Let's see if we can pull him up here. All right, we'll wait. We'll wait till he's done his pit stop right here. Let him get into his pit stall and everything else. There we go. All right, so you do see him get some fresh tires onto that 51 ride as well. I do believe a lot of these drivers are going to be wanting to put those fresh tires on us. We're going to jump in here with David Duran Jr. and get a quick little interview here with him at the end of stage number 2 as our stage 2 winner, David Duran Jr. Hey, David, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
I do.
David, man, a great run and a great drive going here for you this evening. We saw you have that issue early on when you in the 56 ride unfortunately made contact, heavy damage on your ride. You're able to rebound from that, though. You weren't able to get that stage 1 win that you were hoping for, but you're able to get that stage 2 win here this earning and earn yourself an extra playoff point and some extra points here towards the playoffs in this stage number 2, man. Take us back through it. You know, what's going through your mind after the contact with the 56 ride and trying to battle back through the field?
Well, just not anticipating a car in the middle of the track when I'm in a backstretch. So I did see some smoke, but I thought he was off the racing surface. And you know, when you're going so fast and you're not anticipating for someone to be in the middle of the track right there, I was assuming he was going to tow, and he didn't. And I mean, I didn't know where to go. So it is what it is. I should have 2 stage wins, but at least I get one. At least make that up is good, and hopefully see if we can get the W here with the next 60 laps. So just need to keep this car in clean air, and we'll be in good shape.
Absolutely. Keeping it in clean air, keeping it out of trouble, and making sure that you keep those tires nice and clean out there on the racetrack, because we've seen some big fall off here from the start of this race and the end of that stage. You know, a lot of drivers that were trying to save that extra set of tires, unfortunately, you know, losing control a couple of times. Drivers shooting down the racetrack towards that inside wall out of corner number 2 and up into the wall in corner number 4. And it's been a lot of fun watching you guys battle out there, but that 51 ride has been the class of the field so far. You're sitting in the catbird seat here on the restart of stage number 3. Good luck out there and have some fun, and maybe we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth at the end of this race.
You bet. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You taking inside or outside, bud?
I'm gonna take out.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our Stage 2 winner on the evening. Our Stage 2 winner here this evening. Picking up that Stage 2 win is the 51 ride of David Duran Jr. Is David going to be looking to try to pick up the win here this evening? He's starting in that best spot out in front in position number 1 here in this final stage. As we'll get ready to set him back loose, we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here. We're going to get ready to set these drivers free here for the final 60 laps of racing action around Atlanta Motor Speedway. As we get ready to set them loose in basically halfway in and halfway to go here on the evening, we're going to be jumping into a PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up out there on the racetrack. So make sure you guys crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite driver as we're going to crank it up here on PeaceMaker Gaming. We're going to crank it up for these drivers to go out there and have some fun and make some noise and let you guys cheer them on here as we will get ready to set them loose and crank them up here on the evening. Alrighty, so yep, perfect. Alright, restart underway here, our final stage of the day for the Outcast Racing League. As David Duran Jr. down through the Geico restart so quickly. Back onto the throttle and out in front. He's looking to pick up right where he left off at the front of the field. As we are going to jump into our PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite driver as we crank it up here on the evening. Never mind, looks like we're going to go right back to the caution flag here. Caution flag going to come right back out. Let's see if we can take a look at it as unfortunately looks like Mike Killingback and maybe James Garland having some issues here on this restart. We all see Al Reed already turned around right here, so it looks like Al Reed possibly spinning the tires, maybe some contact here as we're getting bunched up a little bit down on the inside lane. You see Al Reed get hard into the back end of the 84 of Wayne Garland, and then it just looks like being on the throttle and that little contact just knocks this car loose. He's going to go around right at the flag stand. Makes contact with the 37. See Cameron Combs getting a piece of that as well. A little bit of damage there for Cameron Combs. Everyone trying to squeeze around there, trying to avoid him. The 9 ride going down through the infield again. That's the second time we've seen him make that move. You'll see the 70 ride of Mike Killingback going down through the infield as well, as both James Garland and Al Reed turned around and pointed in the wrong direction here. Tough break for both of those drivers, but we'll take another look back at it. We'll see if we can jump right on board here with our free pass recipient and our news driver back onto the lead lap as gets a good look at it here. That has to go down through the infield to avoid either of those spun around cars out there on the track. As Al Reed just unfortunately getting a little antsy here on this restart. Things getting a little bunched up. He's on the throttle, gets hard into the back of the 84 right there, and then just loses that car. Hard contact there with 37 and the 15, and quite a bit of damage there for all three of those drivers, but nonetheless, we'll see them get back out onto the racetrack, and we'll see them continue on racing here on the evening, as each and every one of them will be able to hopefully get their cars repaired and back out onto the racetrack. Brian Rowland's coming in, showing the love. Brian, how are you? Coming in, smashing that thumbs up here on the broadcast. Hopefully you're having yourself an amazing evening. Hopefully you're enjoying the racing action, and I appreciate you smashing that thumbs up here on the broadcast, Brian, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a few more moments, and this is a good time to talk about one of our league sponsors here. You see their logo up above me here, Land & Sea NSB. Some beautiful, beautiful equipment, some beautiful stuff that they make here and create, and we're going to get the video up here in just a quick second as you see that number 02 rider, Chad Lancaster. He is the Land & Sea NSB 02 ride out there on the racetrack. A beautiful looking paint scheme for him and a beautiful company. Check him out over on Instagram or Facebook, and make sure you guys tell them I sent you and check them out, and they create some very, very amazing things. We're going to jump into our Land & Sea NSB commercial break. righty, as we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Lap number 60 up onto the board. 50 more laps of racing action to go here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it's a beautiful restart once again here for David Duran Jr. as Duran leads the way here. Down through quarter one and out at quarter number two. Duran will lead us down the back straightaway. But here comes the number 8 ride. A big run here for Lance Brandlinger, trying to get right to the back bumper of our race leader, Chris Muse, right there with them in our Land NC MSB02 ride of Chad Lancaster there in fourth. The league owner, the man with the plan, the master man, is the 81 rider, Anthony Garland. They're in position number 5 here. He's got Kurt Sparkman right there behind him. Kurt in the knots. The number 49 rider looks like he's got the knots hooked up here this evening as he's trying to work himself up inside the top 5. We just saw, looked like Josh Bromfield up into the outside fence right there. A little bit of right side damage for that number 12 rider. He's going to get his Atlanta stripes here through 1 and 2, but he's going to keep on trucking. No caution flag. Everyone pointed back in the right direction here. So good restart and good racing action as out in front, David Duran Jr. leads the way here. Duran out in front has got a couple car lengths between himself and Lance Brandlinger as here comes the 0-2 with Chad Lancaster looking to work underneath the 99 of Chris Muse. Now the big question is going to be the 50 lap, almost 60 lap run here to the checker flag. Do these drivers, for one, have enough fuel in their car? And two, do they have tires to possibly make it to the end? Or are we going to have to see them up down pit side and possibly make that work, as we do see some issues for the 81 rider, Anthony Garland, as it looked like Garland had some tough issues down the front straightaway. We'll take a look here down into the grass, and unfortunately he's going to go through it a little bit more, and he's going to mow the lawn here down into quarter number 1. Luckily enough, able to get it moving back in the right direction there. Close call right there for that Syndicate Motorsports 81 ride of Anthony Garland. But he's able to keep on rolling here as David Duran Jr. He's looking to try to pick up right where he left off when we had the end of stage number 2. He was out to a 4.6 second lead here. He's hoping to get that lead once again, but Lance Brandlinger is not letting him run away with it. Brandlinger sticking right there with him in position number 2 as the 51 and 8 ride, only a couple car lengths between them here at the front of the field. Then a gap back now, 1.4 seconds to our third place driver, Christopher Muse and Chad Lancaster, as they both battle here for that third spot. They're door to door for position number 3. Unfortunately, they're sliding a little farther and farther away from our race leader as David Duran Jr. trying to open up that lead. Lance Brandlinger, his teammate, trying to go right there with them, and then still some great battling here for that third spot on the racetrack. CJ Jeffries back up inside the top 5 here as he's there in the 5th position. James Garland right there in 6th with Wayne Garland back behind him. Mike Killingbeck, Josh Bromfield, and Al Reed rounding out our top 10. As now we will jump into our PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite driver as we crank it up here on PeaceMaker Gaming. there on the racetrack as they do a very wonderful job here, making sure that you guys get to see the sights and sounds here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As each and every one of these drivers put on a heck of a race, a heck of a show right there for us. We see 80 laps up onto the board. That means 30 more laps of racing action left here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. As out in front, you see that battle. This is for the top spot. Lance Brantlinger and David Duran Jr. door to door here almost for that race lead, as Brantlinger has not left that back bumper of the 51 ride here in this run, but they have opened up a huge lead, a huge advantage between themselves and the rest of the field. As David Duran Jr. leads the way still, Lance Brantlinger right there with them. Teammates on the racetrack, and they come here with a good setup and a good mentality for this race, and they have been able to run almost a picture-perfect evening besides a little bit of contact for the 51 ride and a couple simple mistakes for the 8 machine of Brantlinger. They find themselves here in this final stage staring down the barrel of the checkered flag, knowing that they have a 7-second advantage here between themselves and our third place driver right now. Up to 7.5 seconds between our race leader and our third place driver, Chris Muse. Is Muse back there in the third spot? He's got a little bit of a gap back, half a second to the 0-2 line of Lancaster. Lancaster, they are in position number 4, looking for more. Mike Killingbeck, though, getting a good run down to his inside. As Killingbeck looking to jump up and take that 4 spot away from him. And C.J. Jeffries right there ready to pounce, as well as Jeffries trying to keep himself out of the outside fence right there. Almost got up into it, but able to keep the 19 right out of the wall and pointed in the right direction here. Unfortunately, lost a bunch of momentum here. He'll have to try to build up that momentum and try to reel those 2 cars back in front of him. Cameron Combs reeling them in, as well as the 15 ride right there in position number 7. A good run here on the second half of this stage for the 15 ride as he restarted again deep in the field here. We saw him battling back just inside the top 10, but now he's working himself back up through the track here, and possibly maybe just a little bit of strategy for that 15 ride. Maybe trying to save some tires, maybe trying to make sure that he has a car for late in this race, and depending on your setup, you can have a very early run car or a very late race car. As you see the 0-2 of Lancaster get up into the outside fence right there, and the right side damage for that 0-2 machine. You can see that right tire just absolutely bent out of shape here. Now right front tire is absolutely catawampus. He's turning left right now with that right front tire. It is turning right, and he is headed down pit side. So a tough break right there for that 0-2 ride. We'll see C.J. Jeffries also coming down pit road, as it looks like Jeffries also got quite a bit of damage here, possibly on that contact or something else. Is C.J. getting into the wall as well? I don't think he's right here, so I think he already had that damage. Yeah, he already had that damage, so I'm not sure. Maybe a strategy move here out of the 19 ride to come down pit side, and that may be opening up a bit of a floodgate, as now we see a couple more drivers heading down pit road, as well as C.J. Jeffries is going to come back out onto the racetrack here. We'll see Josh Bromfield headed down pit lane, Gary Wright down pit side as well. Here comes James Garland, Brandon Puffin Parker, Kurt Sponsler, all down pit lane as well on the racetrack. So interesting, some green flag pit stops getting underway here. Drivers possibly splitting this stage, and you see our race leaders down pit side. David Duran Jr., Lance Brantlinger also down pit road. That's going to bring a bunch of the rest of the field here, as here comes Chris Muse, Mike Killingbeck, Johnny Thunders, Josh Bromfield rolling back out onto the racetrack. But pretty much everybody except for this 15 ride of Cameron Combs has been down pit lane. So interesting strategies here by a bunch of drivers. I would have thought they would have tried to go a little later, maybe seen 1 or 2 drivers maybe try to stretch the fuel mileage out and maybe try to make it the whole way, but no, it looks like they're going to split this second stage basically, or this final stage, right in half and head down pit side. As you see Cameron Combs, he is our race leader right now, and he just rolled around what was our race leaders, and that will put them, I do believe, a lap down on the racetrack. So as David Duran Jr. and Lance Brantlinger came in together, they leave together here And Cameron Combs staying out, though. Gonna run some strategy now. The big thing is that he's gonna have very older tires than everybody else on the racetrack, so they're gonna be able to run a lot of very fast lap times compared to what he can, and that may be a big difference for what he gives up and what he may get back. He may be able to try to stretch it the whole way. He's got a track and a bit here to kind of play with before he gets passed for a position out there on the racetrack, so he does have that in his back pocket. But if he stays out for a few extra laps here, which you see him come down pit side, and oh man, he came in with a whole head of steam. Whole head of steam right there for Cameron Combs, and that may be a speeding into pit lane penalty for this 15 ride. We'll have to wait and see how long this pit stop is going to be, as David Duran Jr., Lance Brantlinger were right there behind him. He comes down pit side. Now this strategy that he had may end up costing him big if he has to sit down pit lane and serve a penalty. This one may hurt him. This one may take him out of any type of contention for a top 5 run or a victory here on the day. And you see that car, the jack's down, the car is serviced, and he is getting that penalty. So unfortunately, Cameron Combs with that speeding penalty into pit lane, he would have came out probably somewhere around a top 5. And looks like he may be coming out somewhere around the 15th position, as he is still down on pit road. He's fallen all the way back now to the 12th spot on the racetrack, and he still hasn't left his pit box, and this one's going to hurt that 15 machine of Cameron Combs. And unfortunately, that's the second time we've seen him make a mistake on pit lane early in the race. We saw him miss his pit stall and have to put it in reverse and back into it. Luckily enough, that was during the yellow flag, but he lost a lot of tracks positions there on pit lane, and that mistake right there is going to put him all the way back, I do believe, a lap down here on the racetrack. Currently in about the 14th position. So going down a lap, back in 14th now for Cameron Combs, and I think that all but seals the deal there for that 15 ride and his chances on the evening, as David Duran Jr. and Lance Brantlinger, they're picked up right where they left off here, 1 and 2, and they're on the racetrack, and they continue to run very, very good lap times here, faster than pretty much everyone else on the racetrack here. And as they do that, they continue to open up their lead here, 7.7 seconds between themselves and our third place driver, Chris Muse. They're in third, CJ Jeffries. They're in position number 4, Anthony Garland, rolling in the 5th position here, so a good run for Anthony back up inside the top 5. Mike Killingbeck back there in 6th, and then we see Al Reed, Josh Bromfield, Chad Lancaster, Gary Wright rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Johnny Thunder currently in the 11th position, with Kurt Sponsler back in 12th, and he is currently our first car 1 lap down on the speedway. Casey Groves back in position number 13, the second car a lap down, and Cameron Combs back in 14th. Brandon Puffenbarger in the 15th position. He is only a lap down right now, but he's at risk of going 2 laps down as our race leaders rolling in slowly but surely back there behind him. Wayne Garland a couple laps down, now back in 16th. Same with James Garland there in the 37 ride. And then Brendan Scott and Dylan Espinoza off the racetrack here in this one, as David Duran Jr. leading the way here. This Celsius number 51 run, he has been the beat here all evening long, and right now he's working well together. Him and his teammate Lance Brantlinger, 1 and 2 out there on the track is Chris Muse. Good battle brewing back here for this 3rd spot as Muse gets a little loose there out of corner number 2. That may open up the door here as CJ Jeffries gonna poke his nose into the action. He's gonna look to see if he can work himself up into that 3rd spot once again on the racetrack. Just could not get the run he needed to really get to the outside of that 99 rod. As they run 3, 4, and 5 right there in frame. Each of these drivers doing a fantastic job, as Bristol Jeffries coming in, showing the love here with the like on the broadcast. It says, go CJ Jeffries. Says, hang on to it, Anthony Garland. Oh, baby Anthony getting very loose there out of corner number 2 again. We've seen this 81 ride time and time again get very loose out of corner number 2 and almost losing it. Almost making heavy contact. And this late in the race, you make a mistake like that, it could be the end of your evening here. Looks like he's going to be able to catch it, though. Keep it pointed in the right direction. Currently in position number 5 on the racetrack. A good solid top 5 run here for Mr. Garland. I don't think he wants to throw it away with a bad exit off of corner number 2 here and wrecking himself out of the race. So he's going to try to mind his P's and Q's here for the rest of this one and try to keep that car pointed in the right direction. As the race in the front of the field continues to rage on here, David Durand Jr., I thought he was going to be able to maybe just run away with it, but Lance Brantlinger has been right there with him. I'm not sure if David Durand is just, letting him follow along, catch that little bit of draft off the back end of the 51 right or not, or, if Lance has just been holding off on us here throughout those first 2 stages and really came to life here in this final stage. And he's been right there with that 51 right ever since the green flag was thrown in. He hasn't really left him, and he's been taking some peeks here, but gets loose there out at corner number 2. So, oh man, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be an amazing run, a crazy finish here. Back down to the checkered flag as we get 11 more laps to go here this next time by the start-finish line. So 11 more laps here from Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 08 edition before the repaint, the old racetrack, the old racing surface with all its bumps and bruises and everything else and all the life and character that this racetrack has, bringing a very great race for us here all evening long. We've seen a lot of wonderful battles out there on the racetrack, and I don't think we're done seeing them yet, as this time by the start finish line we're going to see the double high five right here as 10 more laps left to go here on the evening. 10 more laps of racing action. Can David Durand Jr. hold off his teammate Lance Brantlinger and pick up the win here on the day, or does Brantlinger jump up there and take this win away from that 51 ride? Both drivers showing a ton of speed, a ton of composure out there on the racetrack, not making a whole lot of mistakes for either of them, and they have put themselves into this position where as long as they don't have a late race caution flag, they may be able to just cruise home to an easy 1 and 2 on the racetrack, as they got about a 11.5-second advantage to our third place driver, CJ Jeffrey. So they got a big gap back to position number 3 as Jeffrey's back up into that 3rd spot. Chris Muse right there in position number 4. Anthony Garland hanging on to that 5th position, but Mike Killingback slowly but surely reeling him in here as Killingback right there trying to work himself inside the top 5. Josh Bromfield, good run for one of his first runs back here in this season. So good to see Bromfield not only back it onto the racetrack, but having a good run here. Running in that 7th position, the 77 rider, Casey Gross, right there behind him, is unfortunately a lap down there. So a tough break for Casey Gross in the PeaceMaker Gaming Syndicate Motorsports number 77 ride, being a lap down right now with a double caution flags to work himself back onto the lead lap, as Al Reed back there in the 8th spot. Chad Lancaster right there as well in position number 9. Gary Wright right there, he is rounding out our top 10, so a good run here for the 16 of Gary Wright as he rolls there in the 10th position. May try to pick up a couple more spots here before the end of the evening as Lancaster and Reed battle there for the 8th spot there on the racetrack. Johnny Thunders a little farther back there in 11th for Sponsler, the first car 1 lap down in the 49 ride. He's currently in the 12th position. Casey Gross that we saw there back in 13th here, our second car 1 lap down. Cameron Combs, our third car 1 lap down there in the 14th position for the 15 ride after a pit road speeding penalty served by that 15 ride. Unfortunately, down a lap and all the way back there in 14th. The 9 rider, Brandon Puffenbarger's had a very up and down day, and unfortunately right now he's on the downswing as he's back in the 15th position, and down a lap on the racetrack would need a couple caution flags and a wait around or so to get back towards the lead lap here. And then Wayne Garland, James Garland, both had great starts to the evening. Unfortunately, both back in 16th and 17th on the racetrack, and a couple laps down for each of those drivers. And then Brendan Stott and Dylan Espinoza running into issues early in this race, both off the racing surface and back behind pit wall. As out in front, David Duran Jr. starting to open up a little bit of a lead now between himself and his teammate, the 8 ride of Lance Brantlinger, as they were right there, nose to tail for a lot of laps, but in that final 10 laps here so far, this number 51 ride's been able to open up a little bit of a gap here, about half a second, maybe just making sure that his teammate's not within striking distance to make a Hail Mary move or anything else, or if he was to make a mistake, at least give him a little bit of breathing room where he could probably hang on and try to hold off that 8 ride. So with only 3 laps left to go, the 51 giving himself that little bit of an insurance gap between himself and the 8 ride of Lance Brantlinger here late in this one, and they got a huge gap back now to our 3rd place driver. Over 14 seconds here, going to almost 15 seconds now between our top 2 drivers and our 3rd place driver, CJ Jeffries. It's about half a racetrack now between CJ Jeffries and our race leaders. And you do see Chris Muse and Mike Killenbeck right there battling door to door. This is for position number 4, so CJ Jeffries may have to keep an eye out here and make sure he stays picture perfect on these final laps to make sure the 70 ride and the 99 stay back there behind him and he can finish off with a solid podium run on the evening. But Chris Muse, he's been hungry for one, so has Mike Killenbeck. He's right there within striking distance is David Duran Jr. Out of corner number 4. He is going to see that white flag fly, so one more time around here from Atlanta Motor Speedway for David Duran Jr. He's down through corner 1 and out of corner number 2. He stretches his lead over his teammate Lance Brantlinger now by 1.2 seconds as he looks to cruise home to the checkered flag. The next flag, no matter what, would end the race, so that it be the checkered or the yellow, is down through corner 3 and out of corner number 4. No worry in the world here for the 51 as David Duran Jr. picks up the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Outcast Racing League. Presented to you by Shenko Custom Diecast in Land and Sea and SB. David Duran Jr. being the race winner here, a dominating finish here and a dominating run for that 51 ride. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Duran Jr. as he gets the win here in this one. Lance Brantlinger coming home in 2nd, and CJ Jeffries there in position number 3. Chris Muse there in 4th, and Mike Killenbeck rounding out our top 5. A good run from Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Gary Wright, Chad Lancaster, and Johnny Thunders rounding out our top 10 here on the evening. But no one better than this 51 ride as David Duran Jr. is going to burn down the house here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a run and what a drive here for that 51 machine ride as he's going to park himself up in victory lane and celebrate with him, his crew, his family and friends, and all of his teammates out there on the racetrack. As man, what a win, what a drive for that Celsius number 51 machine. Woo! Burn it down, David. Burn it down, baby. What a run here for him, man. What a run, what a drive, what a performance all evening long, even after that contact in stage number 1, leading the race, T-boning basically the side of a spun around car that was a lap down or so already, making that contact, having that heavy damage basically at the start of this race within the first 20 laps, and being able to kind of bounce back from that rebound from it and not giving up on the race. Coming back to win stage number 2 and to win the actual race here this evening for David Duran Jr. A heck of a run, a heck of a performance. There's the crew cheering and celebrating down pit side as we'll get ready to pull our top 3 up into the broadcast booth here for some post-race interviews. Post-race interview is going to come up next. We're just waiting for drivers to jump into the post-race interview room. We're waiting for our race winner and our second place driver to jump up into the post-race interviews room there so we can get them in for their wonderful runs on the evening. I haven't seen either of our top 2 in there yet. I do see CJ Jeffries up there, but The rest of the drivers, man, what a run, what a race, man. These guys put on one heck of a show for us. That was a lot of fun. Those guys put on a heck of a battle at the front of the field, and everyone else duking it out all over the racetrack here throughout the evening, making this a very, very fun day. And let's get a huge congratulations, a huge round of applause here for all the drivers this evening, and obviously a huge congratulations to David Duran Jr. up in the broadcast, or up in the chat here. Make sure you get that hashtag 51 up in the chat for David Duran Jr. So we'll get ready to pull him up into the broadcast booth. Alrighty, here we go. Hey, David, it's Aaron back up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth to get a copy. David, man, what a run, what a drive. Once again, a very, very strong performance in this final stage. We brought you up after stage number 2, and quickly you were able to make some work here and keep yourself out in front. You and your teammate Lance Brantling are right there, 1 and 2, and slowly but surely just pulled away from the rest of the field, leaving everyone else back there to settle out the 3rd position as you two were battling there, looking to try to settle out the top spot, but in those final 10 laps, you kind of unleashed the beast and was able to pull away and open up a bit of a gap there to give yourself an extra little bit of breathing room between yourself and Lance there on the racetrack. But you guys were out to a, almost a 16-second advantage between yourselves and our 3rd place driver on the evening, man. Take us back through this one, and what's going through your mind after a dominating finish to this race?
I know I had the pace. It's just a matter of trying to get the car any type of clean air as possible, because that's when it was able to drive the best. So, and have the right strategy. And Lance and I had the right strategy there. I think some people were trying to, after the first stage, stay out or just not take tires because they were assuming it was probably going to be a caution fest, which I didn't anticipate, because after the first stage ended and when stage 2 ended and just all green flag for the most part, it's like, okay, well, just try to stay up front, or at least stay up there as much as we can, and able to just pull away. And I'm really surprised, like the gap that we were putting on, from 3rd with CJ and Chris and Chad all the way back there, which was kind of surprising that we had that big of a gap. So I mean, we took advantage of it. You're not going to have as many chances to have a lead like that. So we were just able to pull away slowly but surely and execute on the green flag stop, which we did pretty good. So to come out 1-2 is pretty spectacular.
Absolutely a picture-perfect day here for you and the team as you're able to get that win in the 2nd place finish here on the evening, as you guys were out to a little bit of a Sunday cruise here in Atlanta. But you pulled that 51 right up into victory lane. David, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this evening?
I'll just thank Lance and Wayne for letting me drive with these guys, because they're a fun group of guys to run with. We help each other out as much as we can, give us some any pointers as possible how to race these types of racetracks. And and you broadcasting, like I said, I keep watching your broadcast, so keep it up. I appreciate you guys do for Outcast, so keep it up. And and we're off next week, so after that we'll go get them where we're at next.
Absolutely, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack here in a couple weeks, and hopefully maybe we'll see you right back up here in Victory Lane again in a couple weeks' time. But, man, what a run, what a performance here this evening. Congratulations again on getting the win here in this one, and don't party too hard down there in Victory Lane, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and congratulations again on the race win.
Thank you, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, David Duran Jr. as David picks up the win, parks that 51 right up in Victory Lane as we'll get ready to pull our second place finisher up into the booth. Actually, our second place finisher is up in the booth, so we'll get him up in here for his post-race interview. Hey, Lance, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
I do.
Lance, a great run, a strong performance all evening long between yourself and that number 51 ride, but you're a little bit more of a dark horse here. We didn't see you really be that dominating car like the 51 ride was early in the race. And then all of a sudden after that second stage, you kind of just unleashed the beast and drove right there to the back bumper of the 51 ride, and then the two of you just pulled away and out to a Sunday cruise here. Duked it out yourselves there for a little bit, but David was able to get that advantage late in this race to open up a little bit of a gap and keep you guys kind of separated where you weren't able to make a move or try to get around them there late in the race, but you gotta be pretty happy with the run and the performance not only of yourself but also your teammate there at the front of the field.
Yeah, yeah. I in the beginning of the race, I was just trying to save my stuff. I wasn't trying to push any issue or just trying to keep position. I just kept poking them off one by one. Finished fifth in the first stage. Can't remember where I finished in the second stage, but yeah, yeah. I mean, David and I are teammates, so I wasn't gonna. Uh, for what happened to him in the beginning of the race, I wasn't gonna push the issue. Now, if I had a chance to pass him at the last lap, I would, but I started losing the tires there towards the end, so I really didn't have anything for him. So I was just content. I told him I'd be content with running second to you, and that's just the way it ended up. But I'm happy with the good points, Dave. Finally, no computer issues this time, and made it through the whole race.
Absolutely. Almost a picture-perfect evening for yourself. It only would have got better with one spot better on being up in victory
Yeah.
lane yourself. But, man, you got to be pretty stoked about the run, the performance here, and the great driving between yourself and really the rest of the field. Only seeing a couple caution flags there, unfortunately. David getting tied up in that first one. I'm not sure who Espinosa is. Obviously new to the league and probably maybe new to iRacing and trying to learn these cars. So it's always good to see new drivers coming in and trying to have some fun, whatever else. Just unfortunately for David, he was wrong place at the wrong time apparently
Yeah.
for that one. But being able to rebound and still park himself up in victory lane, not giving up on the race or anything else is always good to see. And him battle in there, picking up the win. But a great run and a great performance by yourself here in second. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my teammates, of course. Of course, working with David there at the end was great. I mean, we opened up a 10-second lead there at the end, and like I said, I was content with second place. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and thanks for the interview. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. It's always fun having you up here in the booth and obviously having some good runs and hopefully some momentum being built here for towards the end of the season and hopefully, more and more trips up here into the booth for yourself and your team and hopefully, more and more victories and maybe a championship here in, a couple months.
I'm hoping so. I mean, I just want to keep consistency. Hopefully, my computer cooperates with me. That cost me a lot of points during the year. But thank you for everything. You do a great job, as I always tell you.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother. Well, Lance, congratulations on the second place run here this evening at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth in a couple of weeks.
That's the plan. Have a good one, my friend.
You as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for our second place finisher, Lance Brantlinger. As Brantlinger coming home in position number 2, a great run and a great drive there for the 8 machine. As we'll get ready, we're going to pull in our third place finisher here, CJ Jeffries, coming home in that third spot. We're going to get a quick drink here. We're going to get ready to pull our third place finisher up into the broadcast booth. It's CJ Jeffries coming home in third on this Father's Day race, and we're going to get him up into the broadcast booth right now. Hey, CJ, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir.
CJ, man, a great run and a strong performance here from you for the day. You were able to pick up that stage 1 win, and then we saw you kind of get up into the wall a little bit. The car kind of fell back as you were trying to, save that extra set of tires, trying to keep that car out of trouble there. In the second stage, you kind of fell back a little bit, but here in this final stage, you work yourself back up and into a solid podium finish here in that third spot with 2 tough cookies right there behind you. As I know, Chris Muse has been wanting more and more of these top 3s, and he was right there nipping on your back bumper, and Mike Killingbeck came on strong there, trying to, show you guys the way around there for a little bit as well, man. Take us back through throughout the race, but also throughout those final closing laps. Looking in that rearview mirror and seeing Muse and Killingbeck right there behind you.
Well, to start stage 2, yeah, I was on those old tires, like I'd mentioned during the stage 1 break, and I kind of got stupid. I saw Wayne get a little loose, so I was going to try to go on the high side, and I think I saw him get a little sideways, and then I put it in the wall just so that way if he was going to hit me, it wasn't going to like kill my car even more. And then I had wheel damage, and so I think I finished the race with like 30 seconds of optional left. But yeah, I was also like, I guess Anthony was towing me that whole second stage because I could not get around him. He was running whatever line I ran, and it made things difficult. So, but that final stage, I kind of had the green light to just go as hard as I wanted to. And I knew Chris was saving after that final pit stop because he wasn't going to make up 8 seconds on new tires. Not at the pace that David and Lance were running anyways. And so once I caught him, he was able to kind of, he was racing me really hard. And once I got by, I had to just, I gave it everything I had. Chris has gone, he's come a long way just in terms of his driving ability. Same with Mike. Mike put a ton of practice in this weekend. I was working with him, and no, those guys all around. It was fun racing hard with them. There were times where I was getting raced super hard by guys in the middle of the race. And I just didn't feel like it was necessary, just because we were losing so much ground to David. And just where you're at on track is super important. But it is what it is. I had fun coming back and running with these guys. I'm hoping to make 1 or 2 more starts again this season. And yeah, all in all, good day.
Absolutely a great day and still a great finish for yourself, being able to park your 19 right up here on the podium, CJ, after a very strong performance, a very strong day at the racetrack, and a lot of fun, a lot of good side-by-side battling, and a lot of back and forth out there on the racetrack. CJ, who would you like to thank for such a strong run and strong performance here this evening?
Yeah, I'm not part of Coast to Coast really anymore, but I still work with those guys just to help them get a little bit better, which I don't even know if they need me at this point, to be honest. They're all running really good. So, honestly, thanks to all 4 of those guys. I know Chad Ragsdale still helps out from time to time. I know he's been a little AFK lately. I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to my dad, and I'd like to thank him just for getting me into racing as a kid. My mom for watching. Hell, even one of my coworkers tuned in today. So thank you, Mr. Wesley Webb. So, and the admins, yourself, everybody. So this was cool. This was a fun time.
Absolutely, brother. Always a fun time and always a good time when we get to get you up into the broadcast booth at the end of these races. A solid third-place run, a solid performance, and hopefully a few more times here throughout the season we'll get you back up here into the booth.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and congratulations on the third-place run here today.
Hey, you as well, and Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for our third-place finisher, C.J. Jeffries. As Jeffries comes home there in position number 3. And yes, we would like to reiterate that as a very special, day of racing. Obviously, Father's Day, all these drivers, a lot of fathers in the field here, a lot of fathers in the stands watching these drivers. These drivers, they want to come out and put on a show. It's what they wanted to do. And for Father's Day, is their right to be able to do that. And I'm not a father myself, but I have a father, and I can't thank him enough for being in my life and being a part of my family, and obviously my everything else, and all the other fathers that are part of the PeaceMaker family, part of the PeaceMaker crew. A huge happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. Huge happy Father's Day to my father and my father's fathers and everything else, man. It's been a great day, a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, and no better way to spend a Father's Day than here with everyone in the PeaceMaker family and all these drivers out there on the racetrack. My boy, Chris Muse, Mr. Muse, coming home here in position number 4 on the racetrack. Almost another podium finish here for the 99 ride. Chris coming in, showing the love with the thumbs up here on the evening. How are you, Chris? Good run, good drive there, brother. I thought you were going to be able to squeeze that one by the 19 of Jeffries there late in the race to get yourself a podium. Unfortunately, a solid top 4, though, out there on the racetrack for you, brother. Solid run. But, man, a great run, a great drive here, and a lot of fun this evening. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on the broadcast, hit the share button, hit the follow and subscribe button. Even if it's not currently live and you're re-watching the broadcast, make sure you do those steps. Hit the like button on it, drop a couple comments, and make sure you become a follower or a subscriber here on PeaceMaker Gaming. Listen, thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out for now, baby. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!